Hello, all of my fellow Blogging Painter subscribers. This is Brandon Lewis with the Academy for Professional Painting Contractors, and I wanted to record this video for the Blogging Painters community, and in particular, my sweet favorite friend, Chris Hott. So let's talk about word of mouth referrals. How important are they to you? Is it something that makes you a lot of money every year? Is it something that your family depends on? Are they the kinds of things that show up and make you exceedingly happy? As soon as you get a word of mouth referral, you know that they're probably not going to be a tire kicker. They're probably going to value high quality work. They're probably going to arrive preconditioned to trust you. That is powerful. However, most people really don't understand how word of mouth referrals work and really do not have any systematic programs for generating referrals in abundance and for making certain that they are consistent month after month after month, even in the slow season. So what I'm going to do today is reveal to you 4 powerful strategies that you can use to consistently and constantly generate high quality word of mouth referrals that will pay top dollar for your painting services, and how you can get them coming in on a consistent basis. So before we do that, first we must get your thinking correct in regards to referrals. So when I talk to most owners of painting businesses, this is what they tell me, and this picture probably illustrates it the best. Usually when I talk to owners, they tell me that when I ask them, well, what kind of marketing do you do? What kind of sales strategies do you use? And they say it's mainly word of mouth. My marketing is mainly word of mouth. So the first thing that we have to get clear on is that word of mouth referrals are not marketing if you do it the way most painting contractors do it. And what is that? Well, it's basically doing nothing. It's sitting in a dark closet, praying for the phone to ring, hoping that someone remembers you, even though you've done nothing to remind them, nothing to incentivize them, nothing to communicate with them so that they might refer you to other people. If that's what your marketing looks like, the first thing we have to get real clear on is that's not marketing at all. That would be like if you asked me how I painted the walls in a room, and if I told you I was a painter, what kind of painting do I do? I said, well, I kind of do stand around painting. And you'd say, well, what's that? Well, I just kind of stand around, and sometimes the walls get painted. Well, do you put a brush on the wall? No. I just kind of stand around. Sometimes some paint shows up, and do you have any brushes, any rollers? Do you use any techniques? No. I'm a stand around painter. I stand around, and sometimes things just magically get painted. Well, that's not how it works in the field, right? If you don't work at painting a room, work at painting a house, work on putting in an epoxy floor, work on getting the wallpaper off the wall, does it magically come off the wall? No. Referrals are the same way. Now, you may get lucky because you've done a good job, and if you think doing a good job will bring referrals in abundance, that's another myth that we have to immediately bust. When I go out and talk to huge audiences, and I pick ladies out of the front row, and I ask them, is there anyone here that has small children? And invariably somebody will raise their hand, and I'll say, well, how old is your child? They'll say 4 years old. And I'll say, well, can you remember the name of the nurse that delivered your child? Now, this is someone who provided a service in a very intimate environment for 18 hours, brought probably their firstborn child into the world, yet they can't remember their name. Same goes for plumbers, contractors, carpenters, you name it. People just forget you. It's physiological. People forget. So you will notice that most of your word of mouth referrals occur when you have done what? Just done a job, just signed a contract while you're at a customer's home, another one sees you, or that customer refers you, or a month or two, maybe 2 months after you complete a project. That's really when you get the majority of your referrals. Why don't you get the majority of your referrals 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? I mean, if word of mouth referrals are always going to be there and it's only because you do a good job and nothing else matters, then you should get word of mouth referrals 15, 20 years from somebody you never painted for between now and the last 15 years, but we know that's not the case. Don't think that. That's wrong thinking. You've got to get right thinking. Don't trick yourself. Don't fool yourself. If you're not doing anything to generate word of mouth referrals, you're just relying on the grace of God. You're just relying on a very lazy way to get referrals in the door. So let's say now that we've established that word of mouth referrals are not marketing, it's kind of just dumb luck. We want to do something that makes it not dumb luck. We want to do something that generates those referrals in abundance with a systematic approach. So this is what it would look like. So I'm going to give you 4 strategies, okay? Now, the first thing I'm going to say before I give you these 4 strategies is that you do not need to say these words that I hear people all the time, which is, are you ready? I know that already. Some of this you may say, I know that already. Well, you could go down to Walmart, find someone who's really out of shape, ask them what's the major thing you need to do to get your health back in shape. And they're going to say, well, probably diet and exercise. Well, do you do any of it? Well, no. Well, see, knowing and doing is as far as the east is the west. And I would also say that doing like a craftsman is as far as the east is the west. You're probably a craftsman in the field, meaning that you would never leave a mess at an owner's home. You'd never leave holidays and miss spots. You'd never put latex over oil. You'd never do things that are fundamentally anti-craftsman. But in many ways, in marketing and sales, owners of businesses do the craft really well, and then they shun, belittle, and do a really poor job in marketing and advertising. So we're going to talk about not only what you need to do, but how you need to do it correctly. Okay, so here we go. Let's get right into this content. First things first, probably the most important thing you can do is to send a mailed and emailed newsletter to your customers on a monthly basis. And we'll talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of these 2 mediums, because both of them have 1 or 2 or 3. So the reason people quit referring you regularly is simply because they forget you. And if we don't put ourselves in front of our customers in a regular, ongoing fashion, they quickly begin to forget us. So the best way we can make sure that they never forget us is from the beginning. Once they come into our world, once we thank them profusely as a customer and the job is completed, the estimate's gone in the trash can, our business card has gone in the trash can, any materials we may have left them or emails we sent them have gone in the trash can, now the forgetting process begins. So we have to immediately stay in touch with them with an emailed and mailed newsletter. Now, what does that look like? Well, it doesn't look like talking to them about painting. If you talk to them about painting, they will not consume your content. If they do not consume your content, then your newsletter is pointless. So the first thing we have to do is make certain that it's something that they would enjoy reading. So in our at-home monthly newsletter that we provide for members, and you can do this on your own, it's not real hard. It takes a lot of work, but it's not hard, is the first thing we do is we put together an article. And this article is from the owner to his client list. And it's just about, it's 200 articles, and it's just simply about, what did you do this month? Did your kid get a soccer trophy? Did you and your wife have an anniversary? Did you have a birthday? Did you celebrate something with your grandparents? Did one of the members of your staff do an exceedingly good job and get a really good recommendation or a testimonial from a customer? Did one of your staff's children graduate? Did one of your staff do something remarkable? Were they recognized in the community? Did you and your painting business do something in the month of September for your favorite charity or your church? Simple stuff, almost like if Grandma had picked up the phone and said, "Honey, what did you do this month?" You say, "Well, Granny, me and the kids went camping, and Susie sure is getting bigger now. She started in ballet." I mean, the things that emotionally connect you to your clients. Emotionally connect you. How many times have you done business with someone, referred someone, not because they were the best in town, not because they were the cheapest, but because you knew, liked, and trusted them? Because you knew their kids, you knew their family, you knew them, they knew you. There was familiarity. Familiarity is stronger than brand. Personal, person-to-person familiarity is stronger than brand. You should do both. But when it comes down to people making decisions, that personal connection trumps everything that you can possibly do. It also needs to have in there recipes, articles about how they can improve their life, and information just about trivia, puzzles, comics, the things that you would read for what? Enjoyment if you were just reading something. Nobody wants to read about paint. It's boring. You probably don't even read about paint. It's boring. So we can't give them boring things to read about, can we? We've got to give them exciting, interesting things to read about. So that's kind of to get them to read it and to get them to bond with you so they refer you. Well, now we've got to take it one step further. We've got to actually ask them for a referral. That's just amazing. We've got to thank the people in our newsletter who have referred us, which we do in a section. And then we've got to do what? Reward people who have referred us and publicly recognize them in the act. And we do this by taking a photograph and showing the check or the certificate or the donation we've made to the charity of their choice with another customer. Powerful, powerful social proof. So, why do you mail and email? Well, Brandon, isn't email enough? No, it is not enough. People get 80 to 120 emails a day. Do you want your message to be in the pile of 80 to 120 messages, or would you rather have it in the pile of 2.3 messages? 2.3 is the average number of pieces of mail that the typical American household gets every day. So you can be in the pile of 2.3 or in 120 or 80. And that number for emails going up every day. So there's a number of advantages to mail. We're going to go through those and then we'll talk about the advantages to email. So the advantages to mail is that it's personal, it can be touched, you're not in a real noisy medium, it can be opened, long form content is easily read in print, not easily read in an email. I'm sure when you get your favorite painting magazine that you probably read it cover to cover, or you read a lot of it, but when they send you the e-alerts, the weekly or monthly e-newsletters, you probably don't read as far, and that's just a limitation of medium, okay? That's just a limitation of medium. And so most of that has to be delivered in bite-sized chunks, okay? Let's talk about the advantages of email. And there are lots of advantages of email. Here are advantages. You can do video, like what I'm doing right now. I can't do video in a mail piece. I can't send you to interactive links. I can't do surveys, okay? And one of the big, huge, it's harder, the other thing is it's harder to share a physical newsletter to a lot of people. Can't do it. If you get a blog post like this video that you really like from Blogging Painters, you can put it on your social media feed. You can email it to other painters because you found it helpful. Can you do that with a newsletter? Yeah, but you can send it to one person. So there are lots, and there's audio. You can also do audio in email, but you can't do audio. You can, but it's really expensive in the mailbox. So both of them have advantages. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages. We've talked about those. Number one is there's lots of noise in the email box today, so you've got to be really relevant in order for people to consume what's in there. That's probably the biggest disadvantage. Open rates sometimes can ebb at low rates, which means really you're talking to a large list of people, but if your open rate's 20%, a lot of those are people scrolling through on their iPhone, so that means if you got 1,000 customers, you're only talking to 100 of them. We need to cross-reference this, combine both these mediums. The advantage to email obviously is that it's relatively cheap. You could almost say free. Almost. There's a cost to doing everything, at least preparing the content. It's almost free, okay? This is going to cost you about 60 cents to get it out first class. You can get it out probably 25, 30 cents if you do bulk rate, but we recommend our guys do first class. So that's the tool number one, or two tools, is the mailed and the emailed newsletter. Okay, you need to be doing them both. And this is, again, to generate word-of-mouth referrals. If you think they're important, you need to invest some time and some money to figure out how to produce those for people. So let's move on to the next topic here. So we've kept up with our client list, maybe even our unconverted lead list, maybe even our top priority referral sources and commercial prospects for maintenance painting. And we're going to do that with our at-home monthly newsletter or whatever newsletter you use. The second thing I want to talk to you about is a powerful strategy we call it the survey, the project survey. In our Power Paint presentation process, we walk through a very formalized sales process that increases closing rates and that allows you to raise prices because we build trust rapidly in a 24 to 156 hour period. Okay, one of the things that we do in here, it's not in pre-positioning, it's in presenting in between when we leave our social leave behind proof book and when we go out to do the on-the-spot estimate, we leave a survey with them. And in this survey, we very simply say, my name's Brandon Lewis with Brandon Lewis Painting, and from time to time, my customers will ask me for referrals for other trades that I don't perform. Because I have seen a lot of poor craftsmanship in the years that I've been working, I don't want that to happen to you or any of my clients. If you need any of the following services over the next 6 months or so, please check the box and I will get you in contact with a person that I would trust in my own home. Who wouldn't want a referral from their painter for a plumber, for a roofer, for a flooring person, for gutters, for cabinets, other, okay? And you may go, oh, well, that's simple, Brandon. Well, yeah, it's simple unless, it's easy to think it's just simple unless you're a person that does math like I do. If you see 10 estimates a week, that means 2 a day, Monday through Friday. And if people check on average 2 of the boxes, you've got 20 referrals to hand out. 20 referrals to hand out to people each and every week. If you refer people, they will refer you. Now you take it one step up and you go find a plumber to be in your group and to use this process, a roofer to be in your group and use this process, and if you know how to lead generate for those, how to run a meeting where you can put those things together. This is like BNI specifically on steroids with no cost and half the time, and actually using a mechanism so people don't get together and give crappy referrals from people that really don't exist. You've seen that happen in a BNI meeting. It's great when it works, it's terrible when it doesn't. And then there's chiropractors and doctors and everybody that you can't refer. You just do this with other home service people or commercial service people. You get a plumber, a roofer, a flooring person, a gutter person, a cabinet, other people, you get them together. You put together this survey. And see, it's not just that you're getting 20 referrals. Well, now he's seeing 10 estimates. He's getting 20 referrals. The gutter person, the cabinet. So all of a sudden, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 120 referrals are being found every week. That's 240 every 2 weeks. That's 480 a month. There is a percentage, probably about 5% of that 500, which will be yours. I did this, put together a group called the Chattanooga Trades Association when I ran my painting business, my $1 million painting business, and it represented probably about $150,000 to $200,000 of that $1 million that I did in sales each and every year. It's huge, huge. Simple strategy, easy to do, easy not to do, right? Easy not to do. Most people default to the easy not to do. If you default to the easy not to do, you won't get any benefits from anything that I've just mentioned. You've got to get it out the door. It's in the implementation that you make money. It's in the painting of a wall that the wall gets painted right. It's not in the knowing of how to paint a wall. So many people confuse knowing something with doing it, as I mentioned. You got to do these things. So let's move on to this final strategy that's a little quicker and kind of gives you a burst of referrals. And that's called an endorsed campaign, an endorsed referral campaign. Very simple. Al's Plumbing over here has customers. He may not be contacting them. You may not be contacting yours. All you simply do is get Al's customer list and your customer list together, and you both decide that you're going to do a referral campaign, an endorsed referral campaign. It's very simple. You can do it by email and mail, probably the quickest and easiest way to do it. You can do it on social media too. I'd recommend you do both, or all three rather. And it's simply where you send out a letter that says, why is my painting contractor writing me about a plumber? ? Dear Susie. And you go on to talk about how you've had bad experiences with plumbers in the past, but you found a good one. And hey, by the way, Susie, if you need anything, call him. He'll take care of you. By the way, if you do it in the month of May, you'll get X. P.S. If you need any kind of painting services done, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. So you get to reach out to your customers, remind them that you'd be happy to help them, recommend somebody else, and then you just flip the table, right? You flip it. Now Al does the same thing. Why is my plumber writing me about a painter? ? Same exact thing. He sends it out to his list. You send it out to your list. You swap referrals. And you can generate 15, 20, 30 referrals in a 60-day period using these two simple strategies. Probably send out the mail and then follow it up with an email asking them, did you get my letter about John the painter or Al the plumber, whichever. Again, easy to do. You know it now. Will you do it? Probably not. Probably not. That's really what separates most people that are really successful with continuous, constant word-of-mouth referrals and people that just kind of take whatever comes in, whatever scraps fall off the table, whatever people that can remember you. So, let's summarize. And I appreciate you so much. The blogging painters community has meant so much to so many people. It's delivered so much value, and I'm glad that you're part of it. Let's recap. Number one is word-of-mouth advertising is not marketing unless you do something. It's sitting in a closet and hoping that the phone rings. That's not marketing, okay? Don't ever tell people what kind of marketing do you do. Word-of-mouth marketing, that's not an option. If you do no marketing, just say I don't do any. But word-of-mouth marketing is not marketing. Number one, you need to be sending a mailed and an emailed newsletter. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Number 3, you need to make sure that you survey your customers to see what other home service needs they have in the next 6 months, and to get a cadre of people around you that do the same so that you can multiply your efforts, because basically what you do with that is you piggyback on their marketing dollars. You don't have to run the estimate, but you get the referral anyway. That's beautiful. And then fourth and finally, you need to be doing endorsed referral campaigns, probably to the exact same people that are in this group that you assemble, so that you can generate more and more word-of-mouth referrals. These are powerful, powerful strategies that are simple and easy to execute, that are very low cost, that anyone can do. If you need help with generating word-of-mouth referrals, and if some of this has not been as clear as you would like, there are 2 options I'd like to give to you. Number one, you can just email me directly, Brandon@paintersacademy.com, Brandon@paintersacademy.com. If you found this video helpful, please share it. Or you can go to paintersacademy.com. There's lots of free resources there that you can enjoy, listen to, read, and there's a whole wealth of education to be found there, plus a free CD that we'll send you at no charge, along with a training program similar to, but frankly better than this, when you request it on the site. So thank you again, Chris Hott and the blogging painters community, for really archiving and being a librarian for all things business growth in the painting world. Until next time, I'm Brandon Lewis with the Painters Academy. Go get some word-of-mouth referrals. Do it today.